Red Dead Redemption 2 is a story that thrives on its characters, and over the course of the 6 main chapters, we see and feel the loss of many of them. The game allows us, however, to pay our respects to the characters whom we are fortunate enough to experience this story with, that died along the way by visiting their graves. And we even get an achievement/trophy along the way for doing so, and it's really strange that I never actually got around to doing it. Maybe it's just taken me the best part of 3 years to get over the fact that these characters died. Or maybe I was just too busy getting distracted by badges. Just kidding, fuck the badges. So join me in today's video as we go on an adventure to pay our respects. Come the epilogue, there are 9 graves of your fallen friends in total, so it's best to really do it around that point. And of course, here's the second time I'm going to lay down a spoiler warning for the main story of Red Dead Redemption 2. I know the game's nearly 3 years old, but there are still some people out there who haven't gotten around to finishing the main story for themselves, whether they just be really slow gamers or the fact that they've started later than everyone else. If that's you, finish the game for yourself, enjoy it, and then come back to this video. It's not going anywhere. Naturally, the best order for this is the order in which the characters died, first to last. So to begin with, we have got Jenny Kirk located north of Coulter, which is the Chapter 1 camp located in the mountains. This one's located just off the path as you head up north along Spider Gorge out of Coulter, where you will find the crudely made cross being battered slowly by the harsh snow. Although it's pretty calm here. Of course, in order to get the achievement, one must inspect all of the graves as you come across them. We never actually got to see Jenny in the story of Red Dead Redemption 2, as she died just before the very beginning of the game. Of course, however, the gang do mention her from time to time. For example, Hosea Matthews described her personality as having a spark. Apparently, she also liked to play dominoes and was reportedly close friends with Javier Escuela. It's also understood that Lenny Summers developed an attraction towards her, though it's never elaborated on how far along that went. During the botched Blackwater Ferry robbery, Jenny was wounded during the shootout and succumbed to her injuries before the gang could arrive at Coulter. As a result, she was buried north of the abandoned mining village where this cross remains. Next, we've got the resting place of Davey CALLANDER, which can be located inside the mining village of Coulter itself. After sustaining a fatal gunshot wound to the gut during the failed Blackwater raid, Davey succumbed to his wound at the beginning of Red Dead Redemption 2 when the camp arrived at Coulter. His grave left here in the snow, along with this empty town. His brother Mac also died during the failed ferry heist, though it's believed that he does not have a grave. Out of the snow, the next grave on the list is that of Sean MacGuire, which is located down just north of the Chapter 3 camp at Clemens Point. A short walk through the woods from where the camp was located, and we will come across the grave. The final resting place of Sean MacGuire, who was killed at the end of Chapter 3 in the main story, where he was shot in the head in an ambush in the town of Rhodes. Next we have the grave of Kieran Duffy, which is located west of Shady Bell. It's not too far southeast of the old battlefield at Bulga Glade, where just off the road you can find Kieran's final resting place. Kieran Duffy was killed during Chapter 4, where he was captured, tortured and killed by the O'Driscolls, and his decapitated body was returned to the Van der Linde gang as a distraction during an O'Driscoll raid. Initially, Kieran was a captured member of the O'Driscoll gang, forced to live with the Van der Linde gang, but slowly in their own ways, the members of the gang did begin to grow fond of him. Graves number 5 and 6 are located north of Saint-Denis, and these graves are, of course, that of Hosea Matthews and Lenny Summers. You can find these two graves resting in the road just east of the bayou. Both characters, of course, died during the Chapter 4 Saint-Denis bank robbery, Hosea Matthews, of course, being captured and killed by Agent Milton, and Lenny Summers being shot and killed on the rooftops attempting to escape. The next character to die was Molly O'Shea in Chapter 6, however, there is no grave for her, which was likely due to the circumstances surrounding her death, putting her on less than amicable terms with the rest of the remaining Van der Linde gang. The 7th grave we'll need to visit is that of Eagle Flies, who wasn't actually a member of the Van der Linde gang, although he also fell under the spell of Dutch's delusions, and it's that manipulation that led to his demise. The grave is located north of Fort Wallace, which is a pretty easy landmark to find as it's not too far from Valentine. Off the elevated western bank of the river, just before the waterfall, we will find what is essentially a stick pointing out from the ground. In front of it we can see some rocks that have been piled up, giving away that this is the grave of Eagle Flies, and he certainly doesn't have a bad view. For the next grave we need to head southeast towards the Elysian Pool, where just a little bit southwest of that we will find the grave of Susan Grimshaw. This grave sits under the natural shadow of a couple of trees atop a hill, and the view is spectacular. A fitting final resting place for the Van der Linde gang's matriarch. Miss Grimshaw was killed by Micah Bell in the final mission of Chapter 6, signifying the loss of John and Arthur's final ally amidst the calamity that was the dying days of the gang. And it's not hard to believe that many of the characters who'd already died by this point, had they not, would have sided with Arthur and John. The final grave is located northwest, back towards near where Eagle Flies is buried, northeast of Fort Wallace atop a hill. And this grave is of course that of Arthur Morgan himself. The game's main protagonist Arthur Morgan passes away at the end of the final mission of Chapter 6. The circumstances surrounding his death depends on your honour and the decision you make. Since this is the final grave, inspecting it will give you the achievement Paying Respects. And naturally in my case it also crashed the game. Arthur's grave can also vary in appearance depending on the honour you ended the game with him on. With high honour it will be surrounded by blossoming flowers, and will read, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness." And for low and neutral honour there will be no flowers, and it will simply read, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." And by his grave, depending on your honour again, you will find an animal. A black coyote for low honour, and an eagle for high honour. No matter which animal spawns, they cannot be interacted with, nor can they be killed. Perhaps this symbolises that the spirit of Arthur Morgan lives on. Well, at least it didn't in this badger. That'll be the last time I punt the badger, I promise. Now that we've taken time to pay our respects, now it's time to pay some disrespect. During the final mission of the second part of the epilogue, John Marston, Sadie Adler and Charles Smith head up Mount Hagen to face Micah Bell, the rat who no doubt hastened the demise of the Van der Linde gang. It's here, exposed to the icy cold snow, that is Micah's final resting place, his body slowly decaying when the frost allows it, slowly but surely fading away to complete non-existence. Nobody ever buried him, and nobody misses him. Somebody died on the loo up here, so at least Micah had company, which was much more than he deserved. Though this guy is probably not best pleased that he is frozen mid-shit for all eternity. But it could be worse, you could be Micah, who in the end got what he deserved, a traitor's death. This is the end for this video. However, while we're on the subject of graves, if we head to the cemetery in Blackwater, we can actually find the grave of Dutch Van der Linde's mother. Greta Van der Linde died in 1881. The grave states that she was a loving mother to her son Dutch, and that there was grace in her steps and love in every gesture. It's a pretty cool little detail, not really worth its own video, so I didn't know where else I was going to fit that in. I thought I'd just mention it. But like I said before that little distraction, this is the end for today's video. So, thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff. That would be super fantastic. But of course, don't do that if you don't wish to. And if you ever find yourself feeling miffed at Dutch's antics, just remember that in Undead Nightmare you likely unwittingly got the satisfaction of murdering his mum. And of course, with any luck, I'll hopefully be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point. But until next time, take care and goodbye.